So, first up, my pick of the week, Batman issue 15. Another great issue from Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Batman has been captured by the Joker, tied up in a trap. The police show up to try and get the Joker. The Joker's saying he knows the identity of all the Bat family, and that he's going to target them one by one. He's one step ahead of the police and has some people hidden with rocket launchers. In the ensuing chaos, Batman gets free, tries to get his hands on the Joker, but as always, Joker, he's got a toxin on his skin, so when Batman punches him, he ends up knocking himself out. He wakes up and he's with the Bat family, and they want answers. They want to know is what Joker said true. Batman says no, he believes Joker's just bluffing. They then ask him about Alfred, and he says he was only trying to protect them by not telling them that the Joker had Alfred. And they ask him what Joker meant by that Batman had his playing card, and Batman has to tell him this secret, this story that he never told them before, that like way back, something that happened way back, which might mean the Joker's always known that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And the family are a bit pissed with him. They feel he should have shared this sooner. Batman then goes off thinking he's got a lead into where Joker could be, but all the lead does is show how dark this whole thing is, how dark Joker has become, and how big his plan is, and how long he's been in preparation for what's to come. We then get a nice backup feature which has Joker and the Riddler, with the Joker helping Riddler break out of Arkham Asylum, and it's a nice little bit reintroducing the Riddler and sort of added a bit more bones to what goes on in the main story. All in all, this was just another great issue. In all my years of reading comics, I've never ever read a villain that is as scary as the Joker is. So, like, the way Snyder writes him, the way Greg Capullo draws him, it just really is the most terrifying villain I've ever encountered in any comic. The story is still really strong. Does Joker know, or doesn't he know, the identity of Batman? That's like something that is the big mystery at the moment, and I like how they're positioned that we don't know for sure either way. You can already see that there's dissension growing in the family, which could lead to the death of the family and them going their separate ways after this story. I'm really excited about what's to come in this book, and I'm loving it. The art, as always, the way you just have to look at that page, how creepy is the Joker. And then all through the book, this is my favourite panel right here, Batman diving through the fire to try and save the day. Here he is with the Bat family. And here's Batman chasing up his lead, which leads him to Arkham Asylum. But all in all, another truly great read. It gets boring, you know, every month it gets boring saying it, and you want to come out with something creative to say, but there ain't enough, you know, different ways of saying that this is a great book. And basically that's the truth of it. Snyder and Capullo are just on top form as always, and I'm really excited where this series is going to go, and you know, I definitely give this a thumbs up. Next up we have Fantastic Four issue 2, and this was just the right kind of book to read. Batman is such a dark book, and this was just the perfect book to follow that up with, because it's a lot lighter in tone, and it's just the right book. Basically this continues from where FF left off, and the Fantastic Four, they're going to go away. Reed Richards has got this thing wrong with him that the family don't know about yet, and the cosmic rays that gave them their powers seem to be degrading, and they're going to die. It looks like they might die as their powers go. It hasn't affected the others yet, but Reed is like, he needs to find a cure. There's no cure in known space, so he's going to go beyond known time and space. And he's told the family they're going on this expedition for a year, but they'll come back using time travel in 4 minutes. But for them 4 minutes, they need another Fantastic Four to sort of be there just in case something goes wrong. So each of them are asking somebody to replace them. So Mr. Fantastic asks Ant-Man, Invisible Woman asks Medusa of the Inhumans, The Thing asks She-Hulk, and Johnny, he asks Darla, but he doesn't ask his girlfriend Darla quite properly. So in this issue, he has to sort of convince her to take his place for 4 minutes. So he takes her back in time, and they almost get eaten by a dinosaur, but she's excited about the whole thing, so she agrees. And that's pretty much what happened. It was a strange issue. Not a lot really happened in this book. I enjoyed it. It was a nice, breezy, bright read, funny, but nothing really happened, with the exception of like the whole Human Torch asking his girlfriend to take his place. Nothing else happens in this book, and it was a real bizarre one. Once again, the art by Bagley is brilliant. I really enjoyed the art, and I love how he draws the Thing. For me, with the Fantastic Four, it all comes down to, can you draw the Thing? And if you can, then I think you can draw the Fantastic Four, and he does a great job of drawing the Thing. I think, once again, the characterizations seem to be spot on, and which I thought was, which is always good, always helps. Yeah. So that's near the end. The characterizations were really good, but again, it just felt like nothing happened in this issue, and we were just treading water. Like, next issue, things have got to move on. Issue 2 of FF shouldn't be like this, because I'd imagine issue 2 will continue from where this left off. Well, hopefully it will leave where this left off. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed. Nothing really happened, but I still enjoyed it. Which was a strange one. But yeah, I'd definitely give this. If your money's short this week, you could give this a miss. You're not missing any of the story, but it's still a fun read, and I'd give it a thumbs up, even though nothing really happens. Next up, we have Batgirl issue 15, and it is Gail Simone's penultimate issue. This issue, we saw last issue, Joker has captured Batgirl's mother and cut her finger off, the finger that got a wedding ring on, and asked Batgirl to marry him. So, like, most of this issue is a standoff between Batgirl and the Joker, because he's got all these goons and all these innocent people, so she can't. And plus, under the chair where her mom is, there's a nail bomb, so Batgirl has to be careful what she does. Meanwhile, we get these clips from the past of Joker with this psychologist, and he's written this book, and it's all these different things in this book, and he's kind of like thinking, well, how's this going to tie up? But then at the end, it's sort of one of his last chapters in the book is about what he'd do when he gets married. Batgirl tries to get the upper hand, but it doesn't work out, so she has to go along with what he says for now. So she goes to this church, and at the same time she's going to the church, we're getting these scenes from the past, sort of revealing what he's going to do when he gets married. So we sort of have an idea with the cliffhanger where it ends, what is in store for Batgirl. We also see her brother James, who isn't impressed with the Joker, that, you know, Batgirl and his mom are his people to play with, to mess with, so looks like there might be some kind of confrontation with James coming up in the next issue with Joker. So, but all in all, you know, this was another really strong issue. Joker is really, just like in Batman, he's really dark and twisted, and quite a scary villain. Batgirl, there's a lot of emotion there. The art is superb in conveying that emotion. As you know, she's confronting the guy who put her in a wheelchair for 3 years. So there's a lot of emotion, and plus this guy has got her mum, and there's a great internal monologue as Batgirl sort of decides what she's going to do. Is she going to kill the Joker if she gets to that point? The great thing that I liked about this story as well was they leave it very ambiguous whether Joker knows her identity or not. As he kidnapped Barbara Gordon's mom because it's the Commissioner's ex-wife, or as he kidnapped her because she knows that Batgirl is Barbara Gordon and that's her mom. You know, it's like there's some lines you could take that, yeah, he knows, and some lines that you could take, well, no, he doesn't. So I like that he adds into that mystery that we had in Batman, that does Joker know or is he bluffing? And I like that. And this is the other thing I like about the Death of the Family series that they're doing, is you could just read the Batman books and you could enjoy that series. But if you do, like with Batgirl, you read the extra books, it does add an extra layer to the story. As you get to see, you know, it adds that extra depth, but it isn't an essential piece, and I like that. So it leaves it up to the reader whether they want that extra bit of story or not. But it's going to enrich the story if they read it, but if they don't read it, they ain't going to lose too much that they're going to be lost. And I like that approach. I think they did a similar thing with the Night of Owls, and I like that approach a lot, because it gives you the reader the choice and the power. Well, do I read these books or do I leave them? So I like that. Like I said, the art in here was great. The scenes in the past are coloured slightly different because of the lighting in the scenes to the current day, so you instantly can tell you've got a scene from the past. Joker is just twisted in here. Twisted. Batgirl, she gets momentum temporarily. She gets the upper hand on Joker, and then is she going to kill him or isn't she? Which, wow. But yeah, it was another really strong issue. It makes it even sadder what DC have done to Gail Simone, and you know, sadder that next issue will be her last. But this issue was another strong issue, and I give it a definite thumbs up. Next up we have Superboy issue 15, and it's the next part of the Hell on Earth story. And again, this is very interesting that they're doing it a very different way to the way that the Bat books are doing it, where this is like an old-fashioned kind of story that continues issue to issue, and you really need to get the whole story. You need to read each issue. But I'm enjoying it. In saying that, I am enjoying that Hell on Earth. Last issue, Superboy, well, last couple of issues really, he's got pretty messed up by Hal, and something that I don't know if Hal's done to him or some side effect, but his DNA seems to be unwriting itself. So Superman's trying to save him. He takes him to the Fortress of Solitude to try and find a way to save him. He confers with Cyborg and Dr. Veritas, but neither, you know, and they give him their opinion, and then Superman continues working on it himself. And he decides the only way that he can maybe save Superboy is to give Superboy his armor. So he takes his Kryptonian armor off and gives it to Superboy. And will it save him or not? Meanwhile, Hal is continuing to manipulate Supergirl. And we don't know what his plans are yet or who he is. I enjoyed this issue. I did. The story in this issue I really enjoyed. You know, the interaction between Superman and Superboy was good. It filled in any blanks that if you hadn't been reading Superboy or hadn't read Superboy before, it fills in enough blanks that you can follow it. And I like the story. I really like the fact that they showed Superman that as well as having like super strength, he's also super intelligent, and that he can solve problems like this. Yeah, he'll get advice and second opinions, but he can ultimately solve situations like this himself, which yeah, I really liked. I liked that a lot. The only down point with this issue for me was the art, and because they had a number of different artists on this book, and I don't like the whole multiple artists thing. It took you too much. Like each scene sort of looked really different, and even if it was like there were two scenes like the same characters in page to page, it looked different. And I didn't like that, and it took me out of the story, and I think it ruined the story a bit for me and weakened the story. Not to say that the art wasn't good, but like you've got like 2 pages like this, and maybe if it's between different scenes, but then like say they did add an artist to do the Superman scenes and an artist to do the Hal and Supergirl scenes, but it's you know, I didn't like, you know, I just found that hurt the book, which was a shame because there was some good stuff in here. But yeah, all in all though, I enjoyed the story. The art was a bit weak. I think if I was grading this separately, I'd give the art a thumbs in the middle and I'd give the book a thumbs up. But all in all, yeah, I'd give it a thumbs up, and I'm enjoying this Hell on Earth story, and I'm looking forward to see where they go with it next. So yeah, a thumbs up for Superboy. So next up we have Avengers Arena issue 1. Originally I wasn't too interested in this book. As we got nearer to its release, I got a bit more curious about it, read some interviews, saw a preview for it, looked good. Then I was on and pick this up or pick up Thunderbolts, but I had some advice saying avoid Thunderbolts, try this one, so I tried this and I'm glad I did. I enjoyed it. The basic premise is kind of like Avengers Academy in Hunger Games or Battle Royale. That's the kind of setup that these kids have to battle themselves each other to the death. We kick off the story, starts on day 29, and we have two characters battling it out. We then jump to day 1 and we see how the kids are kidnapped and brought together on Murder World by Arcade. He tells them that they've got 30 days to live in this area, to kill each other, and then the winner gets to go free. He then shows they decide they're going to fight him. He shows his power and defeats them and beats them down to show that they can't beat him, to escape that way. He then says he's going to kill the weakest. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm curious to where they're going to go with this. I like this issue. The two characters we really meet this issue, one gets killed, but I gather that each issue is going to sort of focus on maybe two different characters or one different character each issue. I'm curious to where they go, because if they have like it fight kill every week, it's going to get boring. You need a little bit more in it. So I'm curious to see how they go with this series. Also, I'm curious to see how Arcade, because how has he got this power? I never remember Arcade being this powerful before, you know. So like my theory at the moment is that it's like they're all hooked up to like virtual reality, like the Matrix, and so like they're not really killed in real life if they die in the thing. That's my theory at the moment. I could be wrong, but I'm just trying to think of ways. Well, how come Arcade's so powerful, and how come the Avengers wouldn't find them? You know, because Arcade does say at one point, "You will not be found. Nobody is looking for you." So has he like put some kind of like doppelgangers in their place? Is Arcade really, say, a scroll? And you know, they're trying to assess these kids by seeing them in like extreme situations. I don't know. There's loads of theories and ways that this could go, and I'm very interested. The other thing that interests me is that it's a twice monthly book, and surely this is one of them books that could have really helped if it had been monthly, because surely you've only got so far before they find out, you know, are they on an alien world, are they in another dimension, are they hooked up to the machine? Surely, you know, some twist is going to come. It's also going to be interesting if somebody is looking for them. Are we also going to follow that in here, or is this just going to concentrate on the kids on the island? There's a lot of questions I've got for this book at the moment, and I'm curious, and certainly for the short term I'm on board to see where this book goes. And you know, I enjoyed it. The art as well, I really liked. You know, I liked the art in this book, but you know, all in all, yeah, I've enjoyed this one. Issue 2 comes out next week, and I think I'm going to pick that one up and see where we go. And for the short term, certainly, I'm picking this one up. So I give Avengers Arena issue 1 a thumbs up. Next up we have issue 15, Frankenstein Agent of Shade. The penultimate issue. Frank's run finishes next one. Sad indeed. But this was another great issue. It continues the Rot World Secrets of the Dead story arc that they're running. It's part 2 of that. And last issue of Okoro got killed, and Frank is by himself. He's trying to find the pieces of the Soul Grinder built by Victor Frankenstein, because that might be the answer to beating the Rot. So Frankenstein has to fight this last monster to get the last piece. And so we get an enjoyable little story that sort of concludes his story in Rotworld. You know, the aftermath of the battle, and you know, can he, once he gets the Soul Grinder, can he defeat Victor Frankenstein and his army of the rot? It's a good issue. It's a good story. The art, once again, by Panticelli is just superb. Really works well for this character. My only gripe is this story is set before the last issue of Animal Man. Now, if you read Animal Man, you know Frankenstein as the Patchwork Army. So you already know the end of this book. What they should have done is had Frankenstein come out last week, and for 1 month swapped Animal Man to this week. That way you would have read this story before reading Animal Man, you know. That was the proper order, and I just feel the way they brought it out, it kind of spoiled the end of the story because you knew how it was all going to end. So you sort of like just waiting for that moment, and I thought that did hurt it a bit. But as I say, it was still just a good story. It's such a shame that this one is finishing. There we go. I'm looking forward to the last issue. I'm sad it's finishing because I've been enjoying Frankenstein. I'm curious to see how it's going to conclude, and if it's going to set up anything for the future, because he seems to be in Justice League Dark now. So hopefully that's going to be Frankenstein's new home. But it's going to be interesting how they conclude this series. But this was another strong issue, and if you're enjoying Rotworld, this is definitely one to pick up, and I give it a thumbs up. Next up we have Mobius, issue 600. Oh, I'm sorry, Spider-Man, issue 699.1. You can easily make the mistake of thinking it's Mobius, the Living Vampire, issue 699.1, because there's more Mobius in this book than Spider-Man. Basically, this is the origin story of Mobius, and while it's an interesting tale showing him out as a kid with this red blood condition, and trying to find a cure for this condition is what leads him to becoming Mobius, and it shows you the journey he goes down. So while that is interesting, I still would have liked a bit of Spider-Man in my Spider-Man comic. We only get Spider-Man in flashbacks, and that just really was it basically, this is fraud, because you're buying something and what they have on the cover isn't in here. There is no Spider-Man at all in this book, and that just, no matter how good the story is, that just left a real sour taste in my mouth. So I'm sorry, this one I have to give a thumbs down, because you know, I understand why they did it, because you know, it sets up the Mobius ongoing series, and they think, well, have Spider-Man's name on the cover, more people are going to pick it up than if we have Mobius's name on the cover. I can understand their logic, but it's still wrong, and I give it a thumbs down. It was a quieter week this week, so I picked up some back issues. I decided to catch up with Batwoman, so I picked up issue 12. I got issue 0. I got issue 13. And I got issue 14. And I've got to say, I loved it. It was a really great book. And I'm definitely adding this to my pull list. Now, issue 12, I was originally reading Batwoman when the New 52 began, but I stopped buying it because the story got too confusing. I wish I'd stuck with it now, because reading this, it is fantastic. issue 12 kicks off. Batwoman is still trying to find the missing children that have gone missing since issue 1, and the parents are really angry at the Gotham police, and it's Batwoman's girlfriend who's in charge of the case. They've got no leads. They've been accused of racism because the kids weren't white, so they're accusing them that if the kids were white they'd be looking harder for them, but they've really got no leads whatsoever. So Batwoman teams up with this like werewolf creature called Abbott, and they go deep down to try and find what Medusa are and where they are, and it's a shocking conclusion that leads to Batwoman deciding the only person who can help in this mission is Wonder Woman. The art is just superb. The way they have the layouts and everything, fantastic book. I definitely enjoyed this. This one was a thumbs up, and I enjoyed it. So then we move on to Batwoman, issue 0. This is just basically, it's like the story's even called Interlude, and it's told in like that Batwoman. Sorry, every mission she goes on, she records a message, so that if she doesn't make it back for like her father, and she's recording this message here as she goes off to deal with Medusa, and we sort of go over a whole origin, a childhood, you know, what happened to a sister and a mother, what a father did that she can't forgive. So it's a really good, you know, it's a really good origin story, and really, you know, gets you to understand the character of Batgirl a lot more. And I really enjoyed this one. This was one of the better 0 issues, and another thumbs up. So then we move on to issue 13, and we continue with the Wonder Woman Batwoman story as they're trying to find Medusa, and Wonder Woman takes her to this Amazonian Arkham Asylum type place where they keep all the most dangerous people, but there's been a breakout, and they have to battle these kind of like black worms, which you can see on the cover, to sort of find out what they need to know. Once again, the art is just superb. The way the layouts are just really unique. There's a brilliant one somewhere of a maze. I don't know if I've passed it. Here it is, this maze that they've got to go through in the prison. It just really well laid out book. And then the issue where the part where they get captured by these big worms, which is just a totally unique kind of way to draw that. And then it's just a really gorgeous book that I just really enjoyed. And then, you know, that was another thumbs up. And then we're on to issue 14, which is the last issue, and this is the issue where, you know, they get the answers they want to find Medusa, but once again, the art is just really uniquely drawn. So yeah, it's just a gorgeous book that I really recommend checking out, because if you like great art, it's a great book, but the story is really good as well. This issue, Wonder Woman and Batwoman sort of get the location they need to go to now, and so the issue ends up with them going there, and that's where issue 15 will pick up from, as at last they get to face Medusa. The other thing that I like is, you may notice there's no adverts in here. All the adverts are in the back of the book, because so many of the pages are like double page spreads. So, and that really helps reading the story, and I like that kind of thing. Though I understand they might not be able to charge as much if they're all at the back, but I thought that was a way that worked really well as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I was glad I picked this one up, and definitely re-adding it to my pull list. Definite thumbs up for the Batwoman.
Darling, you got to let